Oh,
what a big beer opening for our first stream since August. Oh my goodness, it has been quite a time. It's been crazy. It's felt like a totally different life not having the live stream every Sunday or every other Sunday. And, I just felt like the beer was as enthusiastic as we are, Chris.
I know it was a frothy and voluminous, prodigious, impressive.
Yeah, explosively excited beer opening situation. All right. Well, because we haven't, just been in the absolute swing of things all the time, I'm trying to remind myself of all of my habits here. Okay, so now I'm in on Facebook as I like to be. I'm always, sort of
Check it out.
in the chat.
You're young, you're a youngster, so you know how to do all that stuff.
Oh,
you know, to be on where this thing right here. That's all I can handle.
Chris, you're doing fantastic. All the time,
holding
down the emails. Chris,
you're doing great, old man.
What beer do you have tonight, Chris?
I've got my Guinness zero. It's a zero booze beer.
A zero booze beer. Yeah. Are we still doing no booze?
Not technically. Not technically. Just doing the sober October, so I had some of this, and then there was one that's sitting there in the fridgey. And it's good. I mean, for the non-alcoholic beers,
yeah,
it really tastes like Guinness. So
there you go. There you go. I've had some, non-alcoholic beers and mocktails and stuff. It's still tasty. It's all good. It's all good. Well, I have some Roscato this evening. I know. The description on the bottle is that it's a sweet red, and that's all I need to know about it. Well, you know what? I think they were, they weren't being as descriptive as they could, because it's got a little bit of effervescence, and it's actually a very sweet red. If somebody likes a dry red wine, you're gonna hate this.
Yeah. It's sweet, huh?
Oh, it's real sweet. It's all yummy. Right. Well, that's how I like it. I almost I have pink lemonade vodka in the fridge. But it just felt too summery. It felt too summery for this evening.
I've probably had vodka with pink lemonade, but I didn't know it came that
pink
way.
Lemonade already.
Amazing.
You just pour some over ice and you're all set. But I figured,
incredible times we're living in.
They are, they sure are, Chris. They sure are. Yeah, that's a great one. I actually got my mom hooked on that. I gave her for Mother's Day. I gave her one of those little teeny tiny bottles of the pink lemonade vodka and a teeny tiny limoncello, and she thought they were both so delicious that she had them one right after another real quick. Wow. She was like, Katie, oh my God. I was like, Mom.
She's been missing.
I know. That is too funny. Yeah, Mom and Dad need to get in the chat here. Oh no, they're here. They're here. Hello, Mom and Dad.
It's troll.
Yes.
Christine Strauss says hi. We say hi back.
Hello, Christine Strauss. Yes, if you're coming in right now, please say hi. Please say hi. And it is 8:00, so official welcome to FUMFA reading 135. Oh my God. It is our fall live stream. You are tuning in for the historic event of our first quarterly live stream. If you are new to the audience, we did this every week starting at the end of March 2020. Every week except for like maybe a 2 or 3 week vacation here and there. But yeah, just about every week from the end of March 2020 through last summer. So we did that for 3.5 years. And we had over 200 individual readers, including some of the folks we're going to hear tonight returning. And that was just such an incredible ride. But everything changes over time, and it just felt right to go down to fewer readings per year and to make them just fabulous group readings so that we can give people time to write and come to us and say, hey, I want to be on that quarterly stream. And so we're so excited to have 7 returning readers and 2 new readers tonight. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So just to run down the names of the fabulous writers you're going to hear tonight, we're going to hear from Emily Hockaday, Hemant Singh, Margaret Ann Mary Moore, Diosa X, Diosa Xochitl, Danny Stone, Dare Delano, Lynn Domina, Philip J. Curtis, aka Midnight, and John Chance Acevedo. It's gonna be awesome. But Chris, tell our audience out there what we have coming up soon.
Well, so on the 17th, we return to Eco-Evolution for our monthly in-person Chris and Katie's open mic night. And that's Friday the 17th, 7 p.m. Down there in Sono, the very hip South Norwalk. We've got some groovy folks lined up there, including one of tonight's readers, Emily Hockaday, is going to be there sharing her fabulous work. We've got Margie, can't remember her last name because she's usually
John Quinto.
Yes.
John Quinto.
And Tyler Margid. How do you say his name? Margid?
Margid, yeah.
Yeah. Tyler, a fabulous writer who's wowed us a couple of times, and they're going to be our featured readers. If anybody's interested in coming down and signing up, you can go to our Facebook page there, and there's a link right there on our Facebook page, which will get you right there to the sign up sheet, and you will have 5 minutes to read a poem, read a prose piece. You could sing 2 brief songs. You could juggle.
Yep.
You could do a little comedy.
Yep.
What else?
Parlor tricks.
Interpretive dance. You
Absolutely.
can do anything you want. And
listen, if I get good enough at these flow arts, Chris.
Flow arts, don't hurt anybody. That's our one rule. And that's going to be great. So that's on the 17th, and then the next one's on the 15th of December. Same place, same day, same time. We got the great Rob Piazza. We got A.G. Norton doing a slideshow presentation. I don't know if it's going to be same Playboy. Her father took.
Oh, it's got a very provocative title. It's like I don't want to missay it, but
it's really interesting.
Come down and see it. It's fascinating.
Her father took these amazing photographs at the old Playboy clubs, and she's got this hilarious presentation about that. And then also cool. Maya Rose going to place kind of do some pose.
Weird. It's going to be amazing. So please, if you are in the area, come on down, hang out. It's an incredible night of creative community. We have so much fun. Sign up if you want to. If you're just in the area, if you would just want to like fly in for this, Midnight did when he was visiting New York, came in all the way from Colorado. So if you happen to be in the area, please let us know. We would absolutely love to have you. We hope you all come on down to that. If you would like to be on the next quarterly live stream, our link is also on Facebook. Our links for signing up are on Facebook. They're also on our link tree and Instagram. Or if you're like, I don't know where any of that stuff is, just send us an email and we'll hook you up. All right. We do have an email list going. If you're not on our email list, getting a little, note from us every few weeks, just let us know and we'll get you on there.
What is our email?
What is that? Our email is fumfalive@gmail.com.
FUMFA Live.
FUMFA Live. Just reminding everyone that we are alumni of Fairfield University, but we're not officially affiliated. So we can do whatever we want. Just letting you know. All right. It is 8:05. It is time to get started. It is time to bring up our first reader of the evening. We are super excited to welcome Emily Hockaday. Hey, Emily.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
I'm great. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, let me introduce you with your bio. Emily Hockaday's second collection, In a Body, is forthcoming with Harbor Editions October 2023. Ooh, exciting. Her first full-length, Naming the Ghost, debuted with Cornerstone Press in September 2022. She is the author of 6 poetry chapbooks, most recently Beach Vocabulary, out from Redbird Chaps, and Name This Body from Thrash Press. Her poems have appeared in print and online journals, as well as with the Poets of Queens and Parks and Points wayfinding anthologies. Emily writes about ecology, parenthood, chronic illness, grief, and the urban environment. You can find Emily on the web at www.emilyhockaday.com or at @E_Hockaday. Take it away, Emily.
Thank you so much, Chris and Katie. I'm very excited to be here on this live stream and to hear everyone else who's reading tonight. So my book, In a Body, came out 2.5 weeks ago, and I'm going to read from that tonight. This book is a collection of eco poetry, so very nature centered. And also it's about chronic illness. So very much like looking at the human body in illness, and then also like natural bodies, plant, animal, fungal, geological, that kind of thing. So I'm going to start with one of my favorites titled Name This Body. Out in the reeds, I am the person I was. The sky is the same. Water a perfect blue. Nothing seems to have changed here at the reservoir, and I can imagine, until my child breaks the mirror silence, that I am who I was. Like time, my skin stretched to make room for more love. Chemicals in my brain swung wildly, an unbalanced pendulum. But even after all that, I found stillness. Here at the reservoir, I ask my child, who has seen every side of me that matters, to name the sounds, the colors, the moments that move quickly behind us, the faces we love, the star she always points to, Vega. Name anything, really, anything you can. I look into her face fiercely and tell her, name this. So a lot of these poems take place in New York City parks. I live in Queens, and I wander the parks a lot. So you'll see, yes, lots of New York City wildlife and vegetation here. This one is called Body in the Spring. Out in the woods, I rediscovered my tree stump heart, porous, crumbling. An engine whined through the mist, and suddenly I was crouching while that knotted organ flapped wildly. Somewhere inside, beating muscle, was the sweet smell of rainy decay, spongy earth. Insects wriggle beneath the rotting bark. Mushrooms and ferns reach from the wet meat of me. How had I forgotten the scent of myself? As you heard in that one, a lot of a lot of these poems engage with, like, what if I was a tree? I was joking at another reading that these are lots of I'm a tree fantasy poems. So I live right near Forest Park, which is full of trees, so I blame that entirely. This next one is called Body Out of Control. My past lumbers out from the woods. I listen for cars from the highway. The wood is thick, oak and maple and beech between. I try to see the road anyway. I wrap a bandage around my foot and learn how to step. It is as though many creatures have inhabited this one body. Parts of me have disappeared, but this doesn't assuage my fears. My child's forehead is hot and damp. Curls like cliches stick against her skin. She fights sleep as though it is death, and I don't blame her. I remember it every night, the knowledge that anything can happen, the scope of everything, the scope of control. What did I leave in the woods that I won't recover? Mossed over memories growing from trunks as ears of fungus. This is another Forest Park poem. Body in carnival glass. The great horned owl calls, unmistakable in its intentions. I have never seen it. Nights change shape, yet the call of the owl is steady. I set my pulse to its low hoot. Dark beads of liquid on the grass hold the rounded reflection of my distorted face. The warped version of me knows why I came. We look into the vegetation. Every overhang is a cozy hideaway. Later, I ask my spouse if I am still wild. I don't ever want to be tame. I don't want to be tamed by pain. From every edge of the white pine grove, you hear it. The owl's cry cuts through the racket of insects and cars, soft and powerful. When we first heard that owl in Queens, like just a few thousand feet from our apartment, I was so enthralled. I just didn't know. I mean, of course, owls live everywhere, but it just didn't occur to me that we had one as a neighbor. I think that owl appears 2 times in this book because I was so enchanted by it. Here's another bird poem. Class, order, family. Scarlet ibis, spoonbill, laughing kookaburra, tiny penguin, Arctic tern, the wings, the bill, the feathers, the hooklets and barbules, the round iris, like ours. My child was born a bird. We kept her in an oval egg like porcelain, and when it was time, I held it in my hands, electric heat from my bare fingers to warm it. She remembers her bird ways and is dismayed to find herself a human child. Laying back in the stroller, she looks up at the sky overhead as if she knows she should be there. When it is time for Play-Doh, she commands us, make an egg. I dutifully shape one after another until she holds her hands together, a full nest of potential. This next poem, I'm going to switch from the woods to the beach, which we have a lot of beaches here in Queens. But I also wrote a fair amount of these poems at the national park location on Fire Island. And this one was written there. Body transparency. Inside the transparent eggs, tiny crabs swim. Their rolling bodies wink flashes of white. In the small hole we dig, in the surf of the bay beach, hundreds float to the surface. The baby is enamored. I hold them to her, perfect shining balls. Within, the embryos are splotches of paint in a handful of marbles. The horseshoe mating was plentiful this year, but I'm careful to cover these potential lives with sand before we leave. I want them to have a chance. That night, I dream of a clear, wet egg. Inside, I find my own body. Her eyes are closed, but she moves her limbs in the viscous fluid. Does pain weave through her pink body? I'm afraid to touch the outer membrane. I open my mouth to speak, but only salt water comes out. She puts a hand on the inner surface of her egg as I arch my back, knees and palms on the floor, emptying an ocean of doubt. I'm just going to read one more, and this one is called View Over Harbor Hills Moraine. So where I live in Queens, there's a ridge, like a hill that stretches almost from East Williamsburg all the way out to Jamaica, and it was created by a glacier leaving rubble behind. View over Harbor Hills Moraine. Tonight when I don't sleep, I look out the window to the wooded glacial hill over the row houses. Earlier today, my child pointed to the pink half moon and said, "It doesn't glow." Ache, at once familiar and alarming, moves along the tight lines of my raised hip and shoulder and the knob and kettle of my knees and ankles. Out there, the terminal moraine is the raised curve of this resting land mass. The bedrock below, unreachable, far beneath sea level. Moving ice deposits left rubble and glacial erratic and silt that compose the body of our home. I wonder what pain leaves behind. I am a body of stone and gristle. I am a reflective surface. I pull a pillow between my knees. I sink to the bottom of myself. I know if I sink far enough, I'll be below the pain. I'll find bedrock. Thank you so much.
Gorgeous, Emily Hockaday. Oh, just absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, poignant poems, bringing us into nature, into these incredibly poignant, thoughtful moments, and really, really tender metaphors. Thank you for kicking off the evening, Emily.
Thank
you. Queens salute you because, boy, I mean, you're capturing the borough of Queens in your poetry. I think you need to, I don't know, campaign to be the next poet laureate of Queens. We've had the poet.
I mean, who else are they going to have be the poet laureate over there?
So nice. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Emily, for that beautiful reading. Yes. Thank you so much. Everybody follow Emily Hockaday. Go grab her books and come down and see her at South Norwalk, November 17th at Eco Evolution.
Right, in person.
Yes. Thank you, Emily. I'm so used to doing a giant woohoo into a microphone from the open mic. I'm like,
you're gonna get in trouble with your neighbors if you do.
I'm trying not to do that. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Anyhow, moving on with our lovely evening. Thank you so much, Emily, for kicking us off. We're so excited to welcome back to FUMFA Live, Heyman Singh. Hey, Heyman.
Yes.
How are you this
Hello.
How are you this evening?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you guys doing? Good?
Doing fantastic. We can't wait to hear you.
Uh-oh.
I'm glad to be back.
Hear that?
We've got a smidge of echo, Heyman, so we're just going to ask you to mute while we read your bio and then give you the floor. Stage. Go for it, Chris. Can you share Heyman's bio?
Yes, I can. Heyman Singh is a Singaporean writer who was inspired by different cultures and traveling. He graduated from Nanyang Technological University's English Literature program in 2011 and promptly left Singapore in the same year. He released his first collection of poems, The Sibyl, in 2022. His upcoming releases include Chaos, Remains of Ruptured Reflections, which looks like it just came out last month, and Nausea / Confession, which comes out this month. Inseparable, a poem from the collection, was nominated for the 2022 Riesling Award by the Science Fiction Poetry Association. The Sybil was also on the preliminary ballot for the Bram Stoker Awards 2023, which is very cool. Super achievement in a poetry collection. Superior achievement and super. This was also nominated for the Elgin Award in 2023. Heyman currently resides in the mountains of Chiapas, Mexico, where he enjoys gardening, hikes, and reading. He's currently working on a collaboration with an Irish artist and another collaboration with an American poet. Both of these are expected to be published next year, 2024. Take it away, Heyman Singh.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. So today I'm going to read from the new book that was out on the 23rd last month, Chaos RRR. And if I join the next live stream, I might read from the upcoming book that's actually out tomorrow. But yeah, that's a collaboration with a Mexican writer. So the way Chaos is structured is that the poems are written in pairs. So there are a total of 13 poems, and they each have a corresponding pair, except the middle poem, which is it's just on its own. So I'm going to read two of the pairs, and we'll see if we have time for another one, perhaps. The first of the poems I'm going to read tonight is Roses. Roses, shields that protect the core. Time weathers away each layer, carefully arranged to conceal the secret. How did that infernal spiral, the nefarious lie, rise above rows of thorns? High and mighty, it starts to fall. Time weathers away each layer. Riveted, we watch the demystification and take our steps toward the sacred. And the last veil falls, exposing the guarded secret. Naked, powerless, we watch darkness at its core. Our gaping mouths, our empty eyes, the deafening silence reflects the brazen void, nothingness. Thank you. So that was Roses, and Roses is paired with Thorns. Just the second poem I'm going to read. Thorns. What am I to do with these fragments of life that I clutch onto with bleeding hands? Rejections of beauty, discarded scraps that grow ugly, gray teardrops, undesired souvenirs that dull by the hand of time. I watch fingernails turn into food for hungry scavenger ghosts. They refuse to rot, hardened weapons that protect the crown, blackened sky that makes stars shine bright. I shall swallow these crumbs and weave a string of spit for a new crown. For there is much beauty in the blood of a Messiah. Thank you. That was Thorns. The next one that I'm going to read, or rather the next pair I'm going to read, is actually the opening and closing of the book. This is the first poem of the book. It's called Sheep. Daytime bleats to the beat of your shepherd's staff. He calls and you heed your need to be meek, the shepherd's keep. How gentle and sweet your tunes ring into the sunshine, ambling through pastures in a mindless meander of bounty. Oh, the rewards we reap from herding sheep. When the sun retires the shepherd, there begins an unseeing, an unbleating darkness. the unforgiving veil that is fuel for ferocious wolves. They devour ones that cower, and blood stains purity. When a howl impales a bleat, oh, the rewards we reap from peering deep. Thank you. And the sheep. So like the sheep is, it's paired with wolf, which is the last poem in the book. So I didn't mention this earlier, but the pairs sort of, they begin at the start and the end of the book is actually the middle, which is poem. There's chaos in the reading of the text. Well, there's meant to be. That's how I wrote it. This one's called Wolf. Form revered that men desire to shapeshift into your savagery. Vicious strikes as the trained pointed scythe of death. Your majesty, elegance enthroned, to arrive as a feral beast and transform into terror itself. Starving chaos weaving magically between the softest fur. Chaos that breathes in your piercing stare, the abyss that beckons in your hungry snarl, that deafening silence before innocence is shredded by blood-stained fang. The dark is sacred in your prowl by moonlight. The quiet is scarred from your howl at midnight. So that was Wolf. Thank you. So the new book's available from Naked Cat Publishing. You can easily do a Google or just check out my socials.
Heyman, we're reading.
Thank you.
I'm ready to do that. My whoop that I do at the and retroactively to Emily Hockaday as well. But what an incredibly powerful reading, Heyman. These poems are so image rich and just laden with the, the metaphor of the sacred, and also the profane, the earthly, and just so powerful, so beautiful. And your pacing and kind of enunciation of your reading just adds to the power of your words. Just really awesome.
Beautifully read, yes, and it's so cool that these. I mean, the pairings of the poems. I mean, it's a cool structure, and then subject matter. I mean, it's like you're writing like science fiction / horror / whatever poetry, right?
That's speculative. Just speculative.
Speculative poetry. It's very cool.
Thank you. Glad you liked it.
Heyman, thank you so much for being with us tonight. That was just awesome. Everybody follow Heyman, go get his book, and stay tuned for these books that are coming out now. Thank you, Heyman. Wow. Oh my God. Wow. Just starting out with some incredible readings here. I'm just like grinning from ear to ear, trying not to make my big scream that makes, that is going to bother my neighbors. But we are super excited also to keep moving forward with our incredible evening of writers. And we are very excited to welcome up Margaret Ann Mary Moore. Hey, Meg.
There she is. She's got her book prominently placed.
Hi, Chris.
Hey.
So excited to be here.
Oh, we're excited to have you.
Are so excited to have you, Megan. We're so happy and thrilled and excited for your brand new book, hot off the press, and we can't wait to hear your lovely reading. So I'm just going to read your bio and then leave you to it. Margaret Ann Mary Moore is the author of the new disability memoir, Bold, Brave, and Breathless, reveling in childhood's splendiferous glories while facing disability and loss. What a fabulous title. She is a summer 2022 graduate of Fairfield University's Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing, where she earned a degree in creative nonfiction and poetry. Meg is an editor and the marketing coordinator at Woodhall Press and works as an ambassador for PRC Saltillo. A featured book on the AWP bookshelf, Bold, Brave, and Breathless, is her debut book. Meg's writing has appeared in Brevity's nonfiction blog, Kairos, a journal of rhetoric, Technology, Pedagogy, Independent Catholic News, Positive Writer, Two Drops of Ink, a literary blog, and How We Are, among other publications. You can find her on Twitter, aka X, at More of a Writer. And take it away, Meg.
Thank you. My book was released by Woodhall Press on October 2nd, and let it be known that it was about a year ago that Katie and Chris asked me to do a reading when my book came out. So they were the first people to request an event for my first book, and I'm glad it's finally here. A little background to juxtapose my reading. I was born with a disability called cerebral palsy, which affects me physically but not cognitively, and I rely on a wheelchair, walker, and communication device. My book chronicles my childhood experiences persevering through the challenges of the disability and of losing my father to stomach cancer and going on to pursue regular education, athletics, and other activities alongside my able-bodied peers. And as you'll see tonight, my family and I have gone against the traditional path for disabled people, even though we sometimes encounter others who insist that I follow that path. My narrator is about 11 years old in this first excerpt, perhaps stemming from memories of the joy lighting my mother's face as she performed in her Irish step dancing troupe. I was drawn to chances to become more immersed in music. I still remember the day they asked for students to volunteer to be dancers in the 5th grade concert. Our theme that year was American Bandstand, and the set list featured everything from the Beatles to the Beach Boys. The gym teacher, Mrs. McVeary, who choreographed all the shows, stood in front of the music room's risers with the music teacher, Mrs. O'Bordy. "Okay, kids," Mrs. McVeary called, picking up a pencil from the music stand they stood behind. "Next we'll do volunteers for the Beach Boys Surfin' USA. Who would like to dance for that?" A year earlier, I had volunteered to ring the jingle bells in our cultural themed concert. I met my classmate at center stage and accepted the set of jingle bells she had picked up backstage for me along with her own. Sliding the loop strap between my thumb and forefinger, she mouthed "got it," and waited for my nod before taking her place in the line of students beside me. Shaking the strap in each hand to ring the attached circular silver bells as a flute melody began to play from the stereo backstage, I grinned at the audience as the class sang the chorus, "Follow the leader, winding around, earth untraveled, oh hollow ground." The golden spotlights above made the bells sparkle as they played their sweet tune. I remember how beautiful it all felt during the song and after, as my family and other audience members complimented my playing. I craved another chance to be more actively involved in the music and didn't hesitate to raise my hand when Mrs. McVeary requested dancers for Surfin' USA the next year. It was a number I enjoyed because of its catchy tune and cool lyrics. "They asked for dancers, Meg," my aide whispered from beside me. "Are you sure that's what you want to volunteer for?" I nodded, smirking, knowing from years of experience exactly where this was headed. "You're going to dance." She was new around school, and I could tell she hadn't understood the full meaning behind my teachers' and therapists' briefing that I liked to be treated like everybody else, having access to all the same opportunities. I nodded in response to the aide's question, keeping my hand raised. "How are you going to dance?" she asked. "I've done stuff like this before," I explained, letting her read the words on my Dyna screen rather than having my device broadcast them to the whole room. Though, later in life, I wondered whether it would have been better to draw attention to the conversation. I take a moment to think about whether you really want to be center stage in your chair while everyone else is dancing. I recall wincing at the remark and turning my options over in my mind. She had just heightened my awareness that I would have to dance differently than my peers, that I would be seated rather than standing and walking, that this would be an obvious difference in the eyes of the audience, and that, as her tone indicated, this was not a positive way to stand out. Something made me consider, though, how I might feel if I put my hand down before I was noticed by the teachers, whose eyes were still fixed on the other side of the room as they slowly marked down the names of the students with raised hands, and how I might feel at the show if I didn't volunteer and then watched others doing the dance without me. Knowing I would regret not being involved, I left my hand up. I knew I didn't have anything to worry about with the teachers. They had always found ways to fully include me while balancing the needs of my disability. Meg Moore, a smile appeared on Mrs. O'Wardy's face. Nice, Meg, Mrs. McVeary exclaimed, scrawling my name on the page before her. That'll be awesome. This is one of the things I loved about LMES. When I put myself out there and volunteered for unique roles and activities just like my peers, the staff smiled back at me, marked me down for my desired role, and found ways to accommodate my needs. Taking the place in a vast, square area downstairs where stairways, doors to the kindergarten playground, and halls all met, the first dance rehearsal remains in my memory. With Surfin' USA playing softly on a portable radio seated on the jade carpet, Mrs. McVeary guided us through the choreography, showing us how she wanted us to come forward from the middle of the stage together before striking our best surfer positions. Everyone hopped and pivoted, bending their knees as they threw their arms out to either side, moving them up and down as if trying to balance while riding a wave. Observing the movements of their upper bodies, I made the same arm motions, flinging them out to the side and tilting slightly to the right and to the left as if attempting to maintain balance. That's perfect, Meg. Good, Mrs. McVeary exclaimed, switching her surfing motions to swimming movements. Okay, guys, now swim, 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 swim. She led us through the front stroke before having us transition into the backstroke. As we paddled into the chorus, everybody's gone surfing, Surfin' USA, our teacher stopped us, taking a moment to contemplate our next step. Meg, she finally said, looking to be deep in thought. Can you show me how you do a circle with your chair? Moving forward out of the semicircle of dancers, I spun around, holding my joystick facing her again. Good. I want you to do that when you guys sing Inside Outside USA. Come forward at Everybody's Gone Surfing. I'll cue you too. I love this move. It was unique, and I was the only one with the means to do it. Perhaps it was my teacher's way of celebrating my disability, showing the audience that, yes, my dance moves differed from everyone else's, but that this could be a positive attribute. Each time I twirled during the show, the audience roared louder, reaching an apex as I straightened the chair out and drove into the opening of the semicircle the other dancers had formed during my last loop. Throwing my hands up in the air as those surrounding me struck surfer poses, I beamed as thunderous applause filled my ears. I loved your donuts, audience members exclaimed after the show. I smiled, amused at the way they had worded my onstage. The last part I'll read takes place when the narrator is 10 years old. Until that moment, I had never understood what it meant to hear yourself scream. My ears filled with this sharp, high-pitched tone. My mouth hung open as I whizzed through the balmy Virginia air. It took me a moment to realize it was my own scream I was hearing as my limbs flailed wildly. For the first time in my life, I was moving on my own, without somebody else, a piece of furniture or equipment, or even the floor to support me. It seemed like a great idea at the time, but the bird's eye view of Water Country, USA, the Mid-Atlantic state's largest water park, was beginning to make me rethink the decision. And if you are curious about how I ended up in mid-air and what happened with my landing, you'll just have to read the memoir. Thank you so much.
Meg, that was the most awesome piece I've ever heard. Woo! I'm trying not to scream and wake my neighbors. Well, they shouldn't be asleep yet. It's too early. That was
USA. Ba, 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 ba,
Survey
ba.
USA. I like so crisply imagined your donuts. And I am so excited for this memoir, Meg. I'm so excited for everything, just everything that you're doing to promote it right now. There's such joy in these passages, and I know that not everything is easy, but people just got to get that memoir and just hear all about your story. Just so beautiful tonight, Meg. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Meg.
Oh, awesome. Everybody go out and get Meg's memoir. One more time. Bold, brave, and breathless, reveling in childhood's splendiferous glories while facing disability and loss. Incredible. Just absolutely beautiful. Well, as I get the tears out of my eyes of happiness and excitement. Okay, we have to continue with our incredible evening. We have 6 more amazing guests to share with you. And we are so excited to welcome up next Diosa Xochiquetzalcoatl.
Yes.
All right. Diosa, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
We are amazing. We're on top of the world. We love this. Chris, aren't you feeling great?
I'm feeling fantastic.
Yes. All right, Chris, would you mind reading Diosa's bio?
I would love it. Love to. Diosa X is a multilingual and multidimensional Chicana, indigenous Mexicana poetisa, and educator with a bachelor's in English and master's of education in cross-cultural teaching. Diosa X is also the author of 3 trace poetry collections, A Church of My Own, Hechizera, Sus Sultry Spells, and West of the Santa Ana and Other Sacred Places. And those have all come out in the last 3 years, 2021, 2022, and this year, 2023. So she's kicking it here. She's cooking with gas. Diosa, take it away.
All right. Thank you once again. So excited to be here. So before I read from my latest collection, I do want to start off with a poem that I wrote for a cousin of mine who and dedicated to anybody who's struggling with cancer diagnosis. Medza o cáncer. Her cancer proliferates once again. Dreaming of tomorrows never spent, I bleed out my sorrows with a feather pen. She wakes amidst the lion's den, recalling the many places we went. Her cancer proliferates once again. Desperate prayer for healing, amen. Rereading the letters and cards we sent, I bleed out my sorrows with a feather pen. Plea bargains with deities, all of them, forgiving others, no time to repent. Her cancer proliferates once again. We ponder the moment, the where and when, living her fullest, a desperate attempt. I bleed out my sorrows with a feather pen. Je regrette rien de rien. Life is not given, it is merely lent. Her cancer proliferates once again as I bleed out my sorrows with a feather pen. And from west of the Santana and other sacred places, Adobe. This is a two-part poem. Two poems, but they're connected. Adobe, in the beginning. Her walls were so thick, it took years for her to finally let him in. Like the ancient walls of Casa Grande, he eventually wore her down, breaking through what seemed impossibly impenetrable. And like the great peoples of that southwestern region, one day he just disappeared, leaving her in ruins. Adobe, in the end. What people see as ruins of Casa Grande, she sees as resilience. When people chipped away and tore down her walls, she stood immovable and anchored in time and history. When people abandoned her, leaving her alone and unprotected, she communed with her ancestors from a long time ago. When people saw her as ruins, she saw herself as indestructible, whispering to the winds, and still I stand. Enraged red woman. I am a red woman who is enraged. I am appalled to be living in the 21st century where I seem to be stuck within the confines of the Twilight Zone. I am enraged at the lack of consciousness throughout humanity, where breathing is impossible within the confines of a deteriorated ozone. I am infuriated with society's prevalence of misogynistic terrorism, where my body is trapped within the confines of a patriarchal war zone. The reels of human evolution have been switched into reverse because the issues that haunted my ancestors still haunt me today. I am not a misandrist, by no means a bigot or hater. I am not a misanthrope, or I love each and every neighbor. I am simply an enraged red woman who is sick and tired of being enraged. And to end, a land where the brave have never truly been free. Some people say there is no room for abortion in this country, that we are a God-fearing nation that would never endanger a child. This, the same country that stripped children away from their families, their languages, their cultures. This, the same country that gloats of religious freedom while strategically dismantling the spiritual posterity of the original inhabitants' future generations. This, the same country that shipped little boys and little girls off to boarding schools thousands of miles away from home, schools designed to kill the Indian, save the man. This, the same country that did in fact kill 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians with a count that has never ceased. This, the same country that boasts of a Statue of Liberty who lifts her lamp beside the golden door. Yet, as Shakespeare warns, all that glitters is not gold. This, the same country whose golden door is but a mere steel gate, entryway and terminal to endless rows of cages atop ice, cold slabs of cement and dirt floors. This, the same country holding hostage huddled brown masses wrapped in foil blankets, yearning to be free. This, the same country that claims to be the land of the free, home of the brave. This, the land where the brave have never truly been free. Thank you so much.
Diosa X, so powerful, such important and powerful words. Oh, trying not to scream in my apartment. Diosa, what incredibly gorgeous, powerful, important, strong poems, just beautiful. Chris, I mean, Diosa just is always killing it on here, and I'm always sitting here like just in my apartment by myself. Like, tell him, Diosa.
No, I know the power. Just the rage, the enraged, right? Just flying off the page, and you read it so beautifully, and very moving, very moving.
Awesome, just awesome, Diosa. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yes, everybody follow Diosa. Get those books.
Right.
All right. Thanks so much, Diosa, once again. Oh, what awesome. We're just luxuriating in incredible writing tonight, aren't we, folks? Chris, I mean, every time we have a reading, we're just blown away. And especially when we have these group readings, it's just one after another, just amazingness.
I know. We're not even halfway there yet. So let's
go for it.
Amazing.
We are
to come up.
So excited. So excited to welcome one of my favorite people in the world, Danny Stone.
There he is. We've got a ceiling fan theme happening tonight.
Oh yeah. Oh, ceiling fan. We've had several ceiling fans, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
You can tell which part of the country people live in, whether the ceiling fan is spinning or not spinning.
Or not.
Yeah, that's true. Or whose heater is working or not working.
That's right.
That's hilarious. Danny, how are you this evening?
It is an honor to be here right in the middle of our lineup with so many great writers. I have been glued to the screen. It's great.
Thank you so much, Danny. We are so excited to hear from you this evening. And I have the honor of reading your bio. Yes. Danny is a friend and former coworker and just like one of the best people I've ever met. So he's also an incredible writer. Anyways, here's his actual bio. Danny Stone's stories are a blend of sci-fi, dystopia, and speculative fiction. They usually take place in a universe much like our own with a couple strange twists. Publications include Child Z, currently being serialized on the platform Twine, Strange Faces at the Windows, a science fiction novel. Then comes The Harvest, a dystopian novel, Safe in the Black Sand, a magical realist novella, Queen City Flash, 2 short stories inside of a collection, and Ghosts of Perryville, a collection of haunted small-town tales. Links to all of Danny's work can be found at his website, DannyStoneBooks.com. Danny uses royalties to fund a scholarship given each year to a graduating senior at his hometown high school. So everyone who reads Danny's work is supporting a great cause. Get those books, people, for lots of good reasons. And get in touch on Danny's Facebook at Danny Stone Books or by email at DannyStoneBooks@gmail.com. Take it away, Danny.
Thank you so much. So tonight I'm going to read the opening to my newest book, a science fiction novel called Child Z. A nurse with bouncy brown curls entered reception through a windowless door. When she called Zane's name, he stood up and identified himself. Then he turned to his wife. "Guess this is it," he said, smiling to cut the tension. "Need anything before I go?" Lainey shook her head. The only thing she needed was a child. As she watched Zane leave, she imagined the nurse locking him inside a sterile room with nothing but his right hand and a plastic cup. Lainey stifled a laugh at the thought of her husband fumbling to take aim. Did the clinic supply sexy magazines, she wondered, or did they leave men to their imaginations? Knowing Zane, either way, a couple minutes would suffice. A brief bout of friction for that moment of bliss, producing half the instructions for a new human life. Lainey's job was to supply the other half of those instructions, and doing so would be anything but blissful. As she waited for the doctor, she spotted a recent issue of Sim Kids Discover on the coffee table. The cover showed a little blonde girl holding a bouquet of daisies. The child was adorable, an American Girl doll come to life. But Lainey's long struggle with infertility meant she couldn't look at other people's children anymore without feeling bitter and broken. A male physician in teal scrubs entered reception, called out Lainey's name, and escorted her to a room where she was told to sit down in a padded chair. Once she was seated, the chair reclined as if she were in a space shuttle preparing for liftoff. The doctor commented on the ongoing drought in Colorado before hiding his face in a surgical mask failing to contain his beard. His attempt at polite conversation did nothing to soothe Lainey's nerves. Someone assisting the doctor prepped a tray of surgical instruments while the doctor, still rattling off statistics about the drought, gently spread Lainey's legs apart and strapped her calves into cold metallic stirrups. "Egg retrieval should take 15 minutes, he said. "Try to relax." It was comedic to think of relaxing under these circumstances. Lainey was unable to laugh with so much at stake. Her blood panels, ultrasounds, disease screenings, and those nauseating rounds of Foley Clear had been in preparation for this moment. It was time to harvest her eggs. Under light anesthesia, Lainey's mind drifted toward the void. Stuck in her stirrups, she felt nothing. She floated outside her body and watched the scene from above, feeling for a moment like her own guardian angel. She emerged from her stupor to see the doctor smiling inside his mask. "Have you started yet?" she asked groggily. He chuckled. "It's over. Everything went well. We retrieved 12 eggs. A dozen eggs, Lainey thought, like at the store. She pictured a cardboard carton, 2 rows of bleached white shells. She pictured an egg frying sunny side up in a skillet and found the idea disturbing. What was an egg but the stolen embryo of a chicken? Zane was back at reception when she got there and handed her a bottle of water. "Are you in pain?" "Not really," she said, feeling bloated, but stable. "Just tired." Zane took her hand, and the physical contact steadied her nerves. His palm was soft and warm. His dark eyes, as they focused on hers, welled up with love. From his pocket, he took out a wedge of orange-flavored chocolate. "I always come prepared," he told her, a loving smile running into his black stubbled cheeks. She nibbled at the chocolate to show her gratitude, but was feeling queasy. The chemical clean scent of the clinic, reminiscent of shampooed carpets, was positively gag-worthy. She needed fresh air. After signing an exit form, she walked outside, and a sudden lightness came over her. She and Zane had given what their bodies had to give, and this lack of control over what came next brought a strange sense of relief. Things were out of their hands now. The clinic would soon select a healthy embryo for implantation, at which point the fate of their future child would lie squarely with Simia. They headed down the highway for Pearl's house, where Lainey planned to live for the next 9 months until returning home to Connecticut with the baby. Most Sim parents opted for telegestation, since everything at Simia happened remotely anyway. But Lainey wanted to be there in person for ultrasounds and for milestones like first and final emanation, which was why she was staying with Pearl. Like Lainey, Pearl was originally from Connecticut. The two were lifelong friends. As kids, they hung out together on the playground, and later each served as the other's maid of honor. Pearl had never intended to move west. but like so many others around the country, she ended up coming to Colorado for a baby and staying. Pearl lived in a town called Foxhole south of Denver, where trees were sparse and solar panels gleamed atop buildings. Her housing development, called Pleasant Lake, was named not for a lake, but for a reservoir built amid tumbleweed. Quiet streets looped in figure eights, new houses popping up along the perimeter. Most lawns were rock gardens and manicured pebblescapes. For those daring to grow grass in this climate, lawns extended only as far as sprinklers could reach. Pearl was weeding the flower bed near her front door when Leonie and Zane arrived. She took off her gardening gloves and waved as they parked the car. Leonie, still queasy from the clinic, took comfort from the sight of her oldest friend squinting back at her in the sun. It was hard to feel far from home whenever Pearl was nearby. They entered the house and removed their shoes. Leonie plopped down on the sofa, exhausted and thankful for air conditioning. She loved Pearl's voluminous living room, which had a vaulted ceiling and tall windows letting in plenty of light. Over a modern faux brick fireplace hung vibrant prints of desert scenes that Pearl had acquired in Navajo country. Next to the sofa, Leonie saw a mess of building blocks and crayons scattered on the floor. "Where's Minnie B?" she asked. She hadn't seen Brandon Jr. since Pearl visited Connecticut after the boy's final emanation. Pearl scanned the floor, her pale face flushed from the hot afternoon sun. "His preschool does arts and crafts until 5, she said. "Gives me a chance to do some gardening between finishing work and picking him up." Leonie laughed at the mention of gardening in a place with barely any rainfall. "How do you get things to grow out here? It's so dry." Pearl shrugged. "We make it grow. If nature had its way, none of this would be here." She switched out of her gardening clothes and into an old college hoodie, a relic from her days at Southern Connecticut State. Leonie recognized the garment from when she and Pearl would meet up on weekends to go hiking before either of them had husbands. While Pearl could certainly afford better clothes now, Leonie was glad she still wore the old stuff. Before Colorado, Pearl had lived in New Haven with her late husband Brandon Sr., who'd worked for Yale. Life for Pearl and Brandon had seemed idyllic until out of nowhere, like lightning on a cloudless day, Brandon was diagnosed with late-stage lung cancer. After getting the news, he and Pearl rushed to an IVF clinic to make embryos, but Pearl couldn't carry the baby herself, being at high risk for severe gestational diabetes. Brandon succumbed to the cancer before they could figure out how to have their baby. After his death, Pearl looked into surrogacy programs, but in America, the practice had become next to impossible ever since the Supreme Court's ruling in Emory v. Gill. Surrogacy abroad was easier than in the United States, legally speaking, but came with high costs and risks. That was why, in the end, Pearl had turned to Simia, the biotech company offering surrogacy through female chimpanzees, and why she'd left Connecticut for Colorado, the only state in the U.S. where Simia could legally operate. Pearl was sipping her lemonade when her cell phone buzzed. When she answered, Leonie heard a panicked voice speaking rapidly on the other end of the line. She couldn't make out the words, but the frantic tone signaled trouble. Leonie saw Pearl's flushed complexion turn spectral. "Tell him Mommy's coming," Pearl hurried, wedging the phone between her shoulder and cheek as she rushed to slip on shoes. "Get him away from the others. He likes to color. Just, I don't know, give him paper and crayons. I'm on my way." She hung up and started out the door, then looked back, remembering she had guests in her home. "Sorry for rushing out like this, but some kids at Brandon's school—" "Just go," Leonie said, shooing her friend away. "We'll be fine here." Pearl smiled through her anxiety and shut the door behind her. From inside, Leonie and Zane heard the car rush out of the driveway and speed off. "God, I hope the kid's okay," Zane said, looking out the window like a dog nervous to see someone leave. "You don't think he's hurt, do you? Or that he hurt another kid?" Leonie shook her head. Pearl's never mentioned Brandon having a temper. It was probably just kids being kids, and something went wrong. It happens. Zane nodded, seeming to accept the excuse as reasonable, but that didn't keep him from biting his nails.
Danny, the tension.
I got a bad feeling.
...
I just vocally express all the emotions, even the silent ones. The absolute clarity of all of these images, like the tension is building so sneakily in here, Danny. You do this so well in in all of your pieces and in everything you've shared on the show with us. I'm just so eager to find out what was going to happen with with the pregnancy, with the children, with this situation that's happening with this child. And y'all gotta find out on Twine, right? We can find this on Twine.
Yeah, so it's about, I release one chapter every week, and it's about halfway done being released right now. So every Tuesday, there's a new chapter until the end.
Oh my God, people, you gotta check it out. You gotta check it out. And he's gonna leave you hanging every week.
Yeah.
That's exciting though.
There's chimpanzees involved in this. It's like it feels like crazy, and at the same time, like somebody's doing this. Like
well, yeah, Chris, the world is getting crazier and crazier. Mom loves science fiction, Danny, and I just want to tell you that Mom is pumped to read it.
Moms are my favorite demographic.
Yes. Well, mom and dad have like the perfect attendance, at all the streams. So, she's a real curator at this point. So
oh, yeah.
Danny, it's just incredible work and so suspenseful, so exciting, so really deep into human emotion. And we're so excited for you. Everybody get out there on Twine. Check us out.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you, Danny.
Being here.
Oh my goodness, so exciting. So exciting. Ooh. Amazing. I love to have some sci-fi going on in here. All right, moving on with our fabulous evening. We are excited to welcome back to the FUMFA Live stream stage Dare Delano. Hey, Dare.
Hi.
How are you this evening?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. The last time I was on with you guys, it was mid-pandemic, so lots has changed.
Yes, absolutely, it has. Thank goodness. We are so excited to have a whole bunch of folks watching on Facebook and also on YouTube. Hello, YouTube people. We have an awesome chat going, so keep it going in the chat, everybody. So good to have you back, Dare. Chris, would you read Dare's file?
But of course, Dare Delano's debut novel, Abilene, forthcoming from Mint Hill Books, is both a coming-of-age story featuring dark clouds, whispered spells, and a search for a father, and a love story featuring 80s new wave club culture, occasional psychedelic trips, and Heideggerian philosophy. Ooh. An earlier draft of Abilene was shortlisted as a finalist for the Faulkner Wisdom Creative Writing Competition. Dare's children's book, Otis and the Long Way Home, won the San Diego Book Award in 2015, and also the Gold Moonbeam Children's Book Award. Dare received her MFA in creative writing from Weyerhaeuser, Fairfield University, in 2020. She is currently and hopefully forever represented by Jennifer Thompson of Nordley Set Literary Agency.
Amazing.
And let's hear what you got, Dare. Take it away.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me back on. I'm really excited to be here. I'm going to read two short excerpts tonight. One is the opening of Abilene, my novel, which is going to be released shortly. It's actually kind of a short, soft release. It's available currently. Here it is, directly from the publisher at mainstreetrag.com. But there's a slight delay getting it available everywhere else, and that will happen on November 15th. So I'm super excited to have this novel come out into the world. I've read from it at multiple FUMFA readings, and so I'm just going to read a short excerpt from the opening of that, and then I'm going to move on to something else that I've been working on. So here is the opening of Abilene. Moonchild, Granny called me, for I was born when the moon was full in a flat ranch house in Abilene, Texas. Granny always said that on account of that moon, I would move with the rhythm of nature, that my intuition was strong, and that I would know about the insides of people, see things in my head before others watched them happen in the world. She stroked my hair and taught me songs with no words. We'd sit out on the screen porch before supper, shucking corn and shelling butter beans, the wind wrapped around us like a blanket. She'd tell me stories about her cousin Dweezil, who could speak in tongues and heal people just by touching them. Granny'd stare right at me, squint her eyes and say, "You got it too, honey. I can tell." And as I looked at her strong, wrinkled face and watched her strip an ear of corn clean in 3 sharp tugs, I believed her with my whole heart. And I knew in my bones she was right. For often, with the first winds of the morning, I could feel how the day was going to go. I could feel the long, strange cry of a wolf or the glorious scream of an eagle circling. I knew someday that wind would bring me news of my daddy. For although I'd never seen him, I knew his face like it was a part of me, memorized from the only picture I had of him. Not a nice framed picture on the mantle like at some people's houses. I had a dog-eared piece of a Polaroid, almost 13 years old, that I kept in my underwear drawer. For as long as I could remember, I'd been waiting for that day, waiting for word of my daddy to come to me, so that big empty space inside of me would be filled. And I kept waiting. By the time I turned 12 years old, I was mighty impatient. Okay, so that is the opening, the prologue of Abilene, which again is going to be out in the world completely on November 15th. You can get it now at mainstreetrag.com. And then I also want to share a brief excerpt from the new project that I've been working on. It doesn't even actually have a working title yet. It's untitled, but it is also a little bit of a love story, a little bit of a mystery. It's set in Richmond, Virginia, so it's still going to stay in the South. And I should just mention for context, as I'm reading, that the narrator is actually male. I don't want that to be confusing since I'm reading it. Here we go, chapter 1. It was a drizzly Tuesday afternoon when I saw Maddie in the coffee shop window. Her head rested lightly on one hand, her gaze on the novel in front of her, and her cello case was propped against a chair. The last time I'd seen her, she was too thin and too pale, sitting on a curb in front of Hard Times, her Doc Martens looking too heavy for her skinny legs, and a joint clutched in between fingers with chipped black polish. She'd looked at me then as if she wasn't sure whether she wanted to admit she knew me. "Hey, frat boy," she said finally, her goth friend turning to look at me with narrowed eyes. She was holding the joint, but it was pretty clear she was on something else, something pumping adrenaline through her veins. Because her knees were bouncing up and down, not in time to the music that was spilling out from the club. "Hi, Maddie," I'd stopped. A protective instinct kicked in, as if she'd been my little sister rather than my best friend's. "Are you going in?" She shrugged. "Probably." She glanced at her friend. Then her eyes lit up. "Will you buy me a drink?" She stood up then, already knowing I would say yes. How could I not say yes? Even though I knew she was underage. Even though I knew she most certainly did not need a drink on top of whatever else was already in her system. How many Long Island iced teas had we drunk that night? I tried to remember now, standing on the street, looking up into the window of the coffee shop. Too many, that was all I knew. She looked beautiful. That was no surprise. But she looked like the kind of beautiful that sat reading in coffee shops and might go to yoga class and grab a smoothie later, instead of the kind of beautiful that did too much coke in the back rooms of dingy clubs and made you worry for days, months, years about how broken she was. And not without reason. What I mean is, she had every reason to be broken. Of course I went into the coffee shop. How could I not go into the coffee shop? "Hey, Maddie," I said, walking around to her table, to stand before her. She looked up. The corners of her lips turned into a smile. "Hey, frat boy," she said. "Grab a coffee. Come sit with me and we'll catch up." So I did. When have I ever not done exactly what she told me to do? Not since we were probably 10 years old. No, that's not true. I know exactly when. Not since the summer when she was 9 years old. Not since the day she went into the indoor swimming pool room and refused to speak again for 6 months. And that is the end of the little excerpt I want to read to you.
Wow.
I'm so sorry. I just took a bite of food.
These are such great openings, right?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm hooked on both already, and I can't get the second one. Wait, this new project is
totally different. It's totally different. New novel. I don't even have a title yet.
No title even yet.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Dare, we need to hear more. We need to know what happens. We need to get the book. And so great to hear from the beginning of Abilene. Oh gosh, I feel like we heard from you from it all the way back in the pandemic, and it's so great to get to hear the beginning of it now, and to hear that it's out there in the world.
Now it's coming out in the world. Geez, these things, it takes too damn long for these things to happen, but when they happen, right? Hallelujah. Congratulations.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome work, Dare. Really exciting. Just really rich characters, and I need to hear about where this little love story is going. Excited. So thank you so much, Dare, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome reading. I love. We got two works from Dare there. So exciting.
I know.
Isn't that awesome? I'm so sorry. I was like, I having my snack. Caught me mid chew.
Mid munch.
I hope y'all have some good snacks and drinks out there. I'm working on my sweet red wine over here. All right. Anyhow, we still have 3 incredible writers left. Stick with us. It's going to be amazing. It has been amazing as well. We are very excited to welcome for the first time to the stream, Lynn Domina. Hey, Lynn.
There she is.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Katie. Hi, Chris.
How are you?
How are you this evening?
Great. I am great.
Where are you joining us from, Lynn?
I am joining you from Marquette, Michigan, in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, right on Lake Superior.
The UP.
The UP, yeah.
In the house.
That is so cool. Yeah, we should have asked. We had an incredible range of locations tonight. We should have.
I know we do. That's why I was asking, because I knew, Lynn, you were out there in the Midwest somewhere. I didn't know it was UP, or I forgot. Yeah. But we've had Mexico and California, and we've got some Colorado coming, and Florida, Connecticut. I mean, we're all over the place.
Yeah, well, Florida too. Chance. Florida. All right. I'm going to introduce Lynn with her bio. Lynn Domina is the author of several books, including 3 collections of poetry, Inland Sea, Framed in Silence, and Corporal Works. Her poems have been published in many periodicals and anthologies, including the Gettysburg Review, the Alaska Quarterly Review, About Place, and the New England Review. She teaches English at Northern Michigan University and serves as creative writing editor of The Other Journal. She lives in Marquette, Michigan, along the beautiful shores of Lake Superior. Take it away, Lynn.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you all, you people out there in Cyberland, devoting your Sunday evening to some good writing. I'm going to read from my new book, Inland Sea, which just came out a couple of months ago. So I'm going to read 4 poems, 2 from close to the beginning of the book, and then 2 from closer to the end. The first one is called Shoreline, and it is in several short sections, so I'll just pause a little bit between each section. Shoreline. My favorite days, I cannot identify blue that is water, blue that is sky, blue that is horizon. I crave this lake's chill, pain thrilling my legs, back, wrists, those minutes I remain fully immersed. You can see one small cave hollowed by erosion only if you've left the path, understanding that if you step even farther, you will stumble or the overhang will collapse. Either way, you'll likely die. 3 chunks of driftwood have landed together where sand meets stone, broken shells beside them reflecting green sea glass. I've been wanting to create more words to name blue. My best stones turn out to be slag, pocked by air bubbles that burst when bits of ore tumbled into frigid water. Late spring, disks of ice swirl within a half-moon cove. Some truth resides in storm-driven waves, but I can't discern completely what it is. Winter afternoons, we climb ice banks so far out, we forget which world is safe, which dangerous. So the next poem is called Fieldwork, and it's basically a consideration of trying to discover what actually I live among. Fieldwork. I began with trees, listening to rattles and whispers, breezes rustling their leaves. I fingered their bark, distinguishing oak from maple, aspen from birch, beheld fir, juniper, cedar. Some evergreen needles swooped down softly, rested pliably in my own hand. I noticed nests and eggs and birds, recognized robins, of course. A blue half-shell had landed among our hostas, urging life into the future. I delighted at the pileated woodpecker who lived 2 days behind our garden, oak shavings floating into our compost. I already knew jays would bully chickadees, and I already knew grackles were smaller than crows and more iridescent. But what about that brown one, its tail specked white? And what about that other brown one, its wings striped white? I listened as my friends described silhouettes of red-tailed hawks or turkey buzzards in flight. All I'd known was that the word buzzard repulsed me. Featherless heads evolved for scavenging, a head thrust fully into an animal, a beak pulling off strips of meat repulsed me. Another confession. I'd always confused conch with nautilus, something about their spirals curling always tighter. I've read about their histories, habitats, reproductive habits, the uses humans make of them. I discovered recipes in jewelry stores, disheveled souvenir shops, and dusty museum exhibits. But I'd never seen either alive. The problem I'd set out to resolve, to know rather than know about, decline the exotic. Choose instead these spruce, sparrows, coneflowers I pass each day. So the next poem I'll read takes its title from a phrase by Walt Whitman in which he said he's referred to death as that delicious word. So the poem is called That Delicious Word. Were you imagining honey, Walt Whitman? A land flowing with it? So intense, half a teaspoon suffices to sweeten your breakfast tea. Our honeybee colonies are afflicted, Walt Whitman. We envision blossoms dropping from stalks, pollen scattered uselessly on dry soil. But we believe in famine the way we believe in leprosy. Did you intend a subtler flavor? Clotted cream spread lightly across scones, currants, nuggets of apricot, candied ginger, small enough promises. We've never imagined you subtle. Last night, Walt Whitman, I ate goat's eye beans flavored with cumin. They were delicious, and the pozole was delicious, a full, peppery bowl that set my tongue deliciously afire. Is this what you meant, Walt Whitman? That we shall want to eat death slowly again and again? My grandfather was called Walter, too. I hope he found death delicious, but I do not think he did. Some people crave salt, and some crave bitterness, broccoli rabe, mustard greens, but my palate has not so matured. My lover's mouth is filled with sores, Walt Whitman, from a disease that might have killed her. She finds applesauce delicious and coconut yogurt. I bring her palm-sized bowls, each spoonful promising life, life. I simmer chicken soup, butter a boiled egg, every bite promising. For 30 years I fancied rattlesnake, though I try not to believe death is so ghastly, I would gloat after putting it in my mouth. The last poem I'm going to read is the last poem in the book, and it celebrates my ability to live in this place of the Upper Peninsula and to be able to visit Lake Superior every single day. It's called The Road to Happiness, and there is an epigraph that says, "A streak of light visible upon a breeze-wrinkled surface of water is called the road to happiness." Cresting the hill west of Seymour, past shiny signs proposing chicken sandwiches, breakfast all day, larger coffee, biscuits, new flavors, and past 2 Chinese buffets rumored to be closing forever, and past the auto parts store, insurance agency, and cheap hair salon where young women wax my eyebrows, and always past a snowplow spitting sand and the car wash that opens only after temperatures rise above 20, and past the school bus carrying cheerleaders to the township and the pickup stacked with storm windows. I look up again to see the lake, stretching, I know, to another country. And I take its blue measure, and I take in its wind-brushed surface, its narrow breakwater crusted with ice, clouds dropping to a near horizon. And I know I don't want to live forever, but I want to live here forever. Thank you.
Lynn, what an image-rich reading. What incredible shout out to where you live and these beautiful birds and their different incredible behaviors and relationships, and just that poem about the food and death being delicious. Wow.
Yeah. Delicious word. I love that.
Thank you.
What a fantastic reading, and what a beautiful reading voice and pacing as well. We were just in it with you.
Thank you. Well, it's easy to be a good writer when you live in such a good place.
Hey, you're making me want to visit now.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
You're doing for the UP what Emily was doing for Queens.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what Bill and Chance may have to say about a few different places that they are.
I think we're going to hear some borough bashing going on.
We always do. Lynn, thank you so much. Beautiful reading. All right. Well, another incredible poetry reading right there. Lynn Domina, really just incredible imagery, really taking us to that Upper Peninsula. That's awesome. But now we are super excited to welcome up our friends who we've had on the show several times, who we are so super thrilled are able to make it here tonight. We're going to be bringing up Philip J. Curtis, aka Midnight, and John Chance Acevedo. Welcome, Midnight and Chance.
He's not.
They're warming up. They're warming up the borough bashing. I can feel it.
And that makes sense. You don't even put him on first, of course.
Okay.
Oh my Lord.
So I have heard that we are going to begin with a duet, and then we're going to have Phil's reading, Chance's reading, and then we're going to finish up with a collab. Do I have it right?
Yeah, that's how we're going to do it.
So I think what I'll do is we'll read both of your bios now. Does that sound good, Chris? What do you think?
Yeah, I think
read them at the
makes sense.
Read them at the same time.
So mine could balance out his foolishness. Like,
oh my God. Lord. You two are too much. Oh, anytime we send a message to Phil and Chance, like we get the answer to the message, and then it's just a back and forth, just hilariousness ensues. It's just such a pleasure. We love you both so much. Anyways, I'll go ahead.
Hey, Midnight, you didn't have to wear your Sunday's best. Is just a show on a Sunday. I mean. Okay.
You too. Okay.
Unbelievable.
All right, so I'm going to read Midnight's bio. Chris, then I'll have you read Chance's bio, and then we'll let these guys get to it. All right, Philip J. Curtis, a.k.a. Midnight, author, spoken word artist, host, workshop facilitator, and mentor, is a native of Brooklyn, New York, with roots in Jamaica, West Indies, who arrived on the Colorado Springs poetry scene in 2006, bringing with him a brand of New York City straightforwardness and swag, along with the sensual son of Jamaica, West Indies. Midnight has presented and facilitated poetry workshops at various high schools, colleges, correctional facilities, and a number of nonprofit organizations. Mr. Curtis is a founding member of Hear Hear Poetry, and in 2009, he established Poetry 719 on Facebook to foster and support the freedom of self-expression in spoken and written words through community connections, education, and poetic unity for all ages. Phil, aka Midnight, recently published his first book entitled What's It All For, which covers over 40 years of writing and performing. You can follow Mr. Curtis on IG at MidnightPoet00. Chris?
I love this Mr. Curtis stuff. John Chance Acevedo is an educator, poet, mentor, father who has been published in several anthologies, joining us from Homestead, Florida, where he works with young adults living with autism. He has been featured across the country in many colleges and universities, Drexel, Michigan State, Columbia, Princeton, and Yale, just to name a few. He has hosted and curated poetry events for over 2 decades, using humor to help members of the audience swallow the harsh realities of life. He has been doing a 9-week mentorship program, which unfortunately led to a 3-year project helping a geriatric poet from Colorado Springs by the name of Midnight.
Oh, look, he put that in his bio. He is also the author of Sketches of My Rights, an incredible poetry book, so y'all should get it.
It's not incredible. It's not incredible.
It's not. Look, just so he can get you. Midnight.
All right, we're going to leave you two to it.
Dude, I don't want to be on the screen with you, man. I'm just straight up. Oh my Lord.
Hey, if Katie read the bio, it has to be true. She's a professional. She would not lie.
Unbelievable.
It is.
You got something? Anything to say tonight? Anything worthy to say tonight, man? All right, wait, hold up. Get on my back. I'm gonna carry you, baby. I'm gonna carry you. Let's go.
Okay. New York is an amusement park, and I've been on every ride. Entrance to this world pays for your ticket. Unwed mothers under age 18 pushing strollers filled with little people, not midgets. Kid carry balloons to share with their parents who don't care. Drunk man stands on concrete tightrope as he struggles to stay on. Stay up, old timer. Stay up, viejo. Stay up. Damn, that overproof got him bad. and he falls just as hard. Sorry, no net, Papa. Just the rooftops we jump from to get away from police. Homeless veterans doing knuckle push-ups for a change. Because that's all fighting for the USA taught him. Onlookers tell him he should take his act on the road. He says, I already have. In these streets, show for free, where all your tips are appreciated. But being all that he can be just isn't enough. There's no magician turning tricks from Brooklyn to the Bronx. No rabbits out of hats. Pickpockets tax the next man's wallet as I watch from my seat on the number 2 train.
Amusement park. Extra, extra, read all about it. My Brooklyn is a Coney Island circus. All types of acts are in town, where random gunshots are abundant. Brooklyn. Same old situation wherever I roam. Animalistic behaviors. Wagons unload. 4-legged creatures take stages, where an elephant is always in the room, terrorizing neighborhoods. These culprits are clowns changing faces, trying to survive big city places. Criminals sometimes held accountable for what they do. But what about the city's ringmasters that support failing schools and mass incarcerations in a place where guns are readily available? So I ask, what is gun control when encouraged to carry? Victim, me, or you? Politicians are acrobatics, flipping the narrative for votes. Cops, like liberty horses, run free and perform without supervision. These pigs put themselves above the law and monkeys are shot down. When it's not the cops, you got to know how to throw those hands and not be victims of the get got. And even if you know how to fight in Brooklyn, in my hood, someone has always got their circus bike stolen. Chaos, violence, anarchy, a wonderment to strangers, little shops with intense competition, from slums to the suburbs, millions of people, money, ideas, increasing tension. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, step right up.
Underpaid trainers watch way more than 3-ring classrooms. You can't beat the students the way the animals get tortured. Maybe if they could, you think they'd give them a worthy salary. All smiles for show. Cries heard each night just like most of our lives. Crowded, sold out shows. Like overpopulated cities. Clowns squeeze into one car, we squeeze into roach-infested one-bedroom apartments just to make ends meet. You may laugh, but rent's no joke. Spectators don't give 2 shits. There's no ooh or ah. Just stares of disappointment as they walk past you shaking their heads. Bastards just missed out on one hell of a show. Living in the clouds. But they'll pay top dollar when the circus is in town. Not me. You can forget Barnum.
Or that other dude, Bailey.
I ain't paying to see a show that I can watch every day for free. No fake laughs, no illusions, just reality served cold with different animals, same tricks in this amusement park, starring real people for no pay, where every seat is the best.
And it's open 24 hours a day.
Wow! I just had to cheer for that. I had to. Awesome. All right. Incredible collab there. We are going to go into Midnight's solo reading.
So today marks 13 years since my father passed away. So I'm gonna perform this next piece for him wearing his shirt. Are there enough there to be there? Or even a group of they to call them them? The word daddy, dad, father. Once a long list. The best of them rest in peace because they're no longer around, physically around. but live in the heart and mind of others' daily routine, figures seen but unseen, for what they prided themselves of being, a father. You see, neither of these men ever met a stranger that draw the natural comfort in which others felt around them. But today, in various sizes, shapes, and colors, many children only have their mothers. Where art thy father? High in the sky, instructions from above. He made an arrangement for a man and wife to multiply, and with this guidance, this word unit would add the letter Y. But WHY spelled out leaves young ones and grown children feeling empty, questioning, why did he have to leave me? Is that how one is to really love mommy? Verbally, mentally, and physically abusive? Leaving what sort of conclusion for their offspring? Those make-believe fairy tales of him being the best dad in the world, drugs, alcohol, women more than some, habitual liar yet full of broken promises. In reality, your world remains empty, crushed by the pain of this year and every year, a calendar telling you that you must adhere to Father's Day. You see, old school needs to come back with those that are still here. Reminisce how your dad taught you this and that and the third thing. A voice that instills love, knowledge, and discipline. A flip of the script, he is both mother and father. Some of my best friends held it down for years. Stepdads taking care of those not their own. But you would never be able to tell. In the mirror, I question me. What sort of figurative father figure can Philip J. Curtis be? Will I be man enough to get it done? After more than 50 years, it might be too late, although a slim possibility that I may create a daughter or a son. Here comes another year, a calendar telling you must adhere to Father's Day. But for 86 years, I had my dad with me, so every day was Father's Day. A grandfather and a father wrapped into one. Lessons from Theophilus Augustus Curtis, both good and bad. But the day did come, because none of us could leave here alive. So with a tear in my eye and a choke in my voice, I replay these words in my heart and mind, words that aren't mine. If I could get another chance, another walk, another dance with him, I play a song that would never ever end, how I love, love, love to dance with my father again. So, FUMFA, check this out, FUMFA, check this out. I've always written poetry, and I like haiku, as you know. I like a good haiku. I taught Chance how to write better haiku. He's still working on it, but we ain't gonna talk about that. So, haiku is a short story. A great short story. So I've decided, with just being around FUMFA and different people, that if Chance can master tic-tac-toe, I can write short stories. So what I'm in the process of doing is changing my haiku into short story, and then at the end of the short story, you'll get the haiku. I'm going to give you the haiku right now just as a premise so you'll know how it ends. The haiku goes like this. 4 black men in bar. 12 shots, none of them bullets. Still fits description. It was a Thursday last week, the day after last Wednesday. Initially, we were supposed to get together last Tuesday. But as we age and engage in this thing called life, many unforeseen occurrences arise more frequently. Children, family time, trying to finish reports before a deadline. Whenever the four of us met up together, you could be sure to hear the phrase, "Remember when?" throughout our conversations, reminiscing and flashing back to various this and that. At least one of us would deviate and exaggerate a story from its origin, embarrassing whoever was the brunt of the joke of what really happened. Their laughs were sincere, and it helped remind us how much of a tight fist we've become over the years. We're older and wiser now, calmed down from our youthful and young man activities, bachelor parties that had disclaimers of hazing and humiliation. One or two may have included some degree of indulging in alcohol or sexual endeavors fulfilling fantasies. You could say we enjoyed our weekends from the late 80s into the early 90s. Now we're positive, strong, responsible men. Of course, still a far cry from perfection. We'd meet up at Seals, our favorite hole in the wall from back in the day. Seals isn't the same as it used to be. No longer do you see Willie outside layered in half jackets trying to create a coat. We got used to hearing him say repeatedly in a song, "Please, ma'am, please, sir, can you please help me get something to eat, please?" He did this while holding the door for patrons entering Seals. He wore what looked like mixed match shoes, but to Willie, matching meant right and left sole was strong enough to constantly parade across Brooklyn pavements. The music that is played at Seals is also different. It's rare to hear hip-hop bouncing off the walls, that expression of culture, life through words, experience, and language. Hip-hop originated in the Bronx, a place some people can't get out of, and others they rather not even go. Rap, hip-hop, this sound of music has come a long way from the beginning of a back-to-school party. Sometimes you would hear a beat and see the graffiti and people breakdancing in the street in your mind. Each generation of MCs and DJs in the 80s added their own thing to the culture, embracing their style of music, lyrics, fashion, and dance. In a way, Seals is the same old place, but the owners' names, vision, family, and a sense of community are a thing of the past. If you ask me, it's basically a regentrification thing. Despite the changes in our old neighborhood, you still wouldn't need to go too far to the left or too far to the right to see some of the crime we grew accustomed to seeing in our streets. Myself and my boy Slick entered. Adjusting our eyes to the darkness, we could still make out our way to our spot. Even in this crowded space, we found our place, mapping our way along sticky floor towards the enlarged autographed picture of John Starks and the dunk over the entire Chicago Bulls team. Slightly to the left, a painted picture of the most beautiful place in the world. I'm not sure who the artist is, but I will forever love that picture of the Brooklyn Bridge. On this day, the last Thursday of April, no games were being played. It was a day off for both the Yankees and the Mets. Subway Series would be on the weekend along with the NFL draft. Our JETS Jets were able to keep their first round pick due to a disclaimer in a trade over the previous winter. The Knicks were playing. They were being the Knicks, hovering around for playoff aspirations. The question that will carry to the end of the season was what seed they would be entering the playoffs. Hockey season was starting to rev up to the next gear. You see, New York City is a primary Rangers town, but you could find me wearing the orange and blue representing the Islanders. I guess no matter what I was drawn to the colors of my favorite team in sports, the New York Mets. This evening, the fellas and I will spend time catching up and discussing life. Truth be told, we didn't celebrate much, but who really needs the calendar to remind us to revel in our friendship? And that's the first chapter of The Fellas.
Wow! Midnight, that was freaking awesome. Not only was your poem just absolutely gorgeous about your father and fatherhood, but this incredible piece that you've written, prose. We've got Chris, we've got prose from Philip J.
He's coming over. He's coming over to the light side. He's coming over to where the sun
come
is.
back to poetry, Phil. Wow, just such incredibly vivid descriptions, the nostalgia, the reflection. It really, really powerful, really awesome, and just kind of like delicious. You just want to dive deeper into that nostalgia and see how things have changed.
Here's a quick fun fact.
Yeah.
The name Seals was actually a sneaker store in Brooklyn.
Oh, that's cool. I love it.
You made it a bar.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Right.
I really like it. Well, Midnight, we are super excited about that. But we are going to get into Chance's solo readings. And then we will bring you back for the collab at the end. Phil, thank you so much.
Thank you back.
All right, Chance, we're gonna leave you to let's change the banner.
Is it over?
He's so bad. All right, we love you.
Oh, sorry guys. All I heard was Brooklyn, 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 something, something, Brooklyn, 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 something, something, Brooklyn. Haiku. The only white guy to get away with wearing all black is Batman. Thank you. I ain't everyone's cup of coffee, and I damn sure ain't anyone's cup of tea, but if you read well, you'd see what big heart looks like. I only joke most times to mask pain. Kids like me don't come with instruction manuals. We be too complex. Page 1, fatherless, only child. My uncle played with needles so much, they thought he was a DJ. I thought he was a doctor until he became the morgue's newest addition. Found me scribbling thoughts on an Etch-a-Sketch because it's way easier to shake the trauma. Page 2 through 4, no longer only child, still fatherless. Mother drank so much to drown her sorrows, her liver resigned. Found me riding into the sky so the wind can catch my drift. Page 5. Found me father to the fatherless, brother to kids that are only children, that are the only child. Mr. A, Coach John, daddy to some, you're to anyone who was listening. Found me writing on holograms in hopes that my writing shifts a little every time I glance at it from an angle. On page 6 of my instruction manual, please go back to page 1 and 2 to understand why I love my children so much. Go back to page 3 to 5. It tells you why teaching wasn't a choice, but a path. On page 6 of my instruction manual, it will read, sometimes you have to make yourself uncomfortable just so you can be comfortable. Thank you. Two cups of pan cornmeal flour, 2 cups of warm water, salt to taste, 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Combine all the ingredients in a medium bowl, mama. For some, this is just a kitchen. This is just pots and pans crescendo Saturday mornings. Morning aren't easy, but I have to wake up to this. This is just tablespoons trying to measure up to you. You sharp knife cut the tension in family arguments sifted to remove the chunks of throwaway. Throw away old pieces of recipes. Recipe for love be simmering in a pot of soup or gumbo or maybe sancocho with meat and potatoes because that's why we are here. Here is where we learned from you. Here is where simmering collard greens led to how we should live. Here is where pegao, con, or the bottom of the pot is all the same. Mama, I want you to show us what you have learned so we can learn to teach them. Show us how you never measured, because for you, cooking was a feeling. Because for you, this comes from the heart. Our biggest fear is that we know that one day you won't be around, and we will have to tell them, sorry, the kitchen is closed. And I will close with this. Dear child, this is not about skeletons piling up in the room you hang your clothes in. I don't care what closet you walk out of. I will gladly hold the door open for you. We can walk this runway or foyer as you decide. I can care less what rainbow flag you want to wave in your room. It doesn't change who you are. Panda, bi, transparency is all I ask for you. I cannot protect you from secrets. I can protect you from them who don't know how to keep their hands to themselves. For you, my hands will be non-binary, transgender, or transitional, whatever it is they call them nowadays. Speak to me. I have given you that trust. I will always ask you to walk in front of me. I love seeing what God and loving parents have created. Will never ask you to keep skeletons. Halloween and science is all they are good for, dear child. I will never ask you to be normal when you are divined. I found your glitter way before you found your puberty. It wasn't you trying on your mother's shoes, boy, or you playing with cars and G.I. Joe, girl. You were made this way because you are perfect. I don't care about what closet you walk out of. I will gladly hold the door open for you. I only care about what time you make it home.
Chan, so beautiful. Really, really beautiful, poignant, vivid pieces. Really, really awesome work. I mean, as usual, as always, Chance. Really beautiful, really powerful.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
Midnight, this is what writing is.
I knew he had to.
I understand they don't teach this style in Brooklyn public schools. Maybe that's why he moved to Colorado. But
Oh my goodness, you guys are Oh my god. Well, I know you're finishing up with a collab, so we will give you two back the stage to wrap up the evening.
Bring it home.
Why you laughing at me, bro? Shoot.
That's like the fourth change of shirt.
That's it, man.
Must be
So
laundry
it's laundry week, boy. They just going to the boom boom right there. Yeah. So ever since March 25th, 2011, which was my father's birthday, after he passed, I changed my shirts. I did a show for him and I changed my shirts. I changed into his shirts. So since then, when I perform, I change my shirts and my hats. Just keep them there. You prepared?
Yeah, we're gonna do the other one that I sent you. We're gonna do the one that I sent you, the correct one, not what you sent me. Go ahead.
Oh shoot, this gonna be a remix then.
Let's go.
Let's go. Me and this guy come from a long line of trash talking, quick wit and insults, with or without audience. For example, the Bronx. It's so grimy, even Santa needs a bulletproof. The dozens. The way you dress, economic status, physical characteristics, puns with exaggerated comparisons. For me, centered around facts. Brooklyn, home of baseball great Roy Campanella. Brooklyn, Fort Greene, Brooklyn gave us Mike Tyson. We took from the Bronx and got the rap game on lock. From Biggie to Jay-Z, Brooklyn helped elevate hip-hop. Yo, BX, you can have your adopted son, Hector Macho Camacho, bro. We got to go to basketball, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So any sport, John Chance Acevedo, whatever you want to call it, heat or smoke, we Brooklyn. He don't want this.
Smoke is what's left over after I light his ass on fire. The dozens is a sport. The dozens is a sport where the microphones of basketball courts, it's easy for me to switch characters with a change of a shirt. I can show you how this middle finger hurt. Yo, Brooklyn, this is who you sent to represent you? Y'all should have sent a Jewish dude from Crown Heights. That would have been just due.
It's a chemistry that you see. Respect for my brother, the same he has for me, closer than a brethren.
That's why you will never, ever hear us exchange any Yo Mama jokes.
Consuelo Acevedo.
My mother.
A mother of 3, single-handedly. Her long days made for shorter nights responsibility. Hustled each day into tomorrow.
Mi vieja.
His mother, Consuelo Acevedo, had 2 choices named day after day. Crying on the inside. Deep-seated determination from face situations. Victorosia no victima. Wishing that her children would have had a good father. Her sacrifices were never a reflection of one's worth. Caring for other people's dirt, a welcoming whistle while she worked, walking with the elders, Consuelo Acevedo, to Madre Guerra.
Gwendolyn Curtis.
My mother.
A mother of 3. Must have been a gardener the way she cared for a rose and extended an olive branch for us to be blessed with her son.
My mother.
Received angel wings before the sun can shine on her son's first turn of a calendar. He gained guardian angel and billionaire philanthropist simultaneously. Father's heart skipped a beat. Coconut water never tasted the same. Rice and peas missed love. Imagine replacing a mother's hug with a sister's embrace. Your father remarries, never to replace your mother, but was forced to give this woman divorce papers because she didn't feel like competing with stepchildren. There's a good man, so it makes sense that this dude, I guess he might be a good man too. You know what? I'm not used to fathers sticking around.
Neither him nor me ever saw mother and father picture framed for memories.
I don't know what it's like not to have my mother.
My so many unanswered questions.
I feel like I have taken her for granted, and maybe a phone call is long overdue.
We dish each other dirt.
But you will never, ever hear us exchange any Your Mama jokes.
Consuelo Acevedo.
My mother. Gwendolyn Curtis.
My mother.
The respect,
the respect we have
for each other.
That was gorgeous. course, you had me cracking up at the beginning, because the trash talking between you two is just kills me, cracks me up every time. We love you both so much, and it's true, y'all. Anytime we send them a little Facebook message or hey, you want to come read, it's just boo 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 boo. With photos too, it's priceless, and it's just filled with so much love. But how that poem went from the trash talking into this incredibly poignant and gorgeous ode to both of your mothers. Thinking about both of your families, it was just incredible.
You gotta do that like every Mother's Day or something. You guys gotta like do a special thing.
Yeah,
I love it.
I told you, stick with me. I'll take you places.
Wow.
You too.
Everybody out there, check out
those
books.
Get What's It All For, Philip J. Curtis and Sketches of My Rights, John Chance Azevedo. I should have got my sweatshirt out. Oh, what was I thinking? My comment.
Gotta say hello to moms and pop.
Oh, thank you, Midnight. Mom and Dad Midnight says hi. We all love you both so much, including Mom and Dad.
I just want to put it out there. Just want to put it out there. Mom said beautiful poetry, John. I don't.
She did say that. She did.
Yeah. Hey, she texted me. She texted me.
I'm looking. I'm searching.
She loves both of you equally, I swear.
Oh, good. She didn't want to make it public. I get it. She wanted to tell you in private, just in case. Okay.
Oh my gosh. We love you too so much.
It makes sense.
The collabs were just absolutely gorgeous. And the pieces
have to write
individually shared were great.
Just have everybody's mom.
I'm so sorry. I'm falling apart here. Chris, weren't the readings just fantastic? Just fantastic.
Well, there's no surprise there. I mean, it's the most reliable poetry and now prose writers.
Mom is trying to spread the love around, okay?
I know it hurt. It hurt her so much to type that in public. I know how hard it was. Don't worry about it. I know how hard it is.
Oh my God, you guys are killing me.
Oh dear.
Oh, you're just priceless. Just such great poetry, so much fun, so much love and so much humor to wrap up the evening with both of you. Thank you so much, Midnight and Chance. Thank you so much to all of our incredible readers this evening. I'm going to run down the list. Emily Hockaday, Hemant Singh, Margaret Ann Mary Moore, Diosa X, Danny Stone, Dare Delano, Lynn Domina, and of course, one more time, Philip J. Curtis, aka Midnight, John Chance Azevedo.
Hey, Danny, thank you for putting Colorado on the map, even though it was science fiction. I really appreciate you doing that, because there's nothing beautiful coming out of Colorado.
That was so funny. I saw it in the chat as well.
Here you go. Midnight, you were doing a timeout. What?
Yeah, because we do. Chance and I do put it in the chat on the second and fourth Wednesday of the month. So this month of November, on the second FUMFA takeover, on the second Wednesday of the month, Chris will be our spotlight artist, and the fourth Wednesday of the month, Katie will be our spotlight artist.
Thank you so much. We're so honored.
We're moving in. We're taking over the chat.
You got to follow Philip J. Curtis. You got to follow Chance. You got to watch for the Zoom link, and you got to get into put it in the chat. Bring some poetry, or just come and listen. It's wonderful time. Great poetry and just a lot of fun and just great community. So please come out to put it in the chat this month, and stick around. Make sure you can hop in there whenever you get a chance. It's been an incredible evening. We love all of our readers so much. Thank you to our audience. It's been an incredible fall live stream, and we will see you next time on our winter live stream, which is coming up in February. So please sign up for that if you are interested in reading and being part of this incredible live stream experience. And also, we'll see you at the in-person open mics. So take care, everybody, and have an amazing night. Thank you again so much. Good night.
Peace and love.
Awesome.